Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3, season 1 of our podcast, tentatively named Refractory, a first principles experiment. And just to add a little more flavor to it, the description is an experimental podcast exploring the relationship between first principles, philosophy, and the meaning of life. So this week / episode, I have my good friend Andy Baek, and his introduction is that he is a professional napper, and some of his accomplishments include waking up, thinking about sleep, and most importantly, going back to sleep. Is that right, Andy? Does that sound right?
That is correct. That is my profession.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so Andy, let's walk through the format of the podcast, and then we'll jump straight into it. So first is the intro, which I just did, your intro. And then second, we go through some questions, really basic questions, just to warm up, get to know you a little bit. And then 3, we do some exercises. And these are the first principles exercises. And for those that don't know, and for you too, Andy, first principles is basically the most basic element or concept of any idea or basically anything. It's been popularized by Elon Musk, but it's a principles in physics. So think of it as the core. That's how I like to do it. So think of it as the core, the why almost. So we do some exercises about the why of your life, not life in general. Like I was saying earlier, it's not about the meaning of life in general. It's about your meaning of life, the meaning of life to you. And then after that, we discuss whether you find those exercises effective to help you to see if first principles was valuable to help you find the meaning of your life. And then the last question is just a standard billboard question, which I can get into then. So jumping right into the questions. Number 1, what would you name your podcast and what would it be about?
Oh, okay. This is an interesting question.
Yes.
I've never thought about creating my own podcast, but if I had one, I think I would call it Listen.
Nice.
We'll just call it Listen. What was the second part of the question?
What would it be about?
I don't know if it would have a particular theme. I'm all for long form discussion, and it would be set up in a way where we could talk, honestly about certain topics, whatever comes up, and just being genuine about the whole thing. You don't have to put up any kind of persona, cut out all the bullshit. Kind of, I guess, relating to the first principles thing. I don't know if I'm aligning to that, but yeah, I don't know. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, there's no right or wrong question.
Yeah, no theme, just shooting the shit. I think that's what most people would tune into something like that,
Got it.
Not super overproduced. People want to see the real you. I think that's what draws people in.
So you would call it Listen, and it would be about authenticity and having genuine conversations. There's no agenda. It's just long form, just talk and see where it goes, making sure you're not trying to put on a front and be someone you're not. And
yeah, I just want to talk to fascinating people or people that I find interesting and just fuck with them a little bit. Just get in their head. How do you think about this? Why'd you get into it? Stuff like that.
Well, that's actually perfect for the next question, which is who are the top 3 guests that
Oh man, this is a tough one actually.
It is.
Because there's a lot of people that I'm obviously interested in, but to have a truly engaging experience, I think there has to be a certain aptitude. Obviously there's preparation, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And a certain skill set that you have to have.
Mm-hmm.
as an interviewer, but also as a person
Mm-hmm.
to really, I don't know. I mean, it's not always guaranteed, but you want to ask certain questions that's either, it's gonna bring out the best in people, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe not the best. Like you just, I don't know, ask it in a way where you're going to get a genuine response and yet still be engaging and stimulating and get to where we're trying to go. I don't know.
Would you almost say like the people you'd want
Yeah.
may not be the right people for a podcast format?
Sorry, say that again.
You can almost say that the people you have in mind, based on what you know about them and the things they have to say, are perfect, but the way they present themselves may not be perfect for a podcast format.
Yeah, I guess so. But if you had to ask me who my top 3 people would be, oh man, I think Bob Marley,
Nice.
Martin Luther King,
Nice.
and Jordan.
Very nice.
Yeah, I think I would want to talk to those people.
Wow. Is there something about them that is common that you really like about them?
It's not necessarily. I'm not like super into reggae music, and I'm not super political, and I'm also not super into basketball. So nothing really about what they did. Um, I don't have like a particular personal investment in what they chose to do in life, but what I am fascinated by is they were true. They truly became what I aspire to be in my life, and it's to be uncommon. These are people who um, really separated themselves from the pack, whether they had naysayers, adversity that they had to go through.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like that.
Yeah. You know, it's an interesting thing when you say naysayers, it almost feels like the more you stand out and thrive doing something different, the more haters you get. It's
Yeah.
almost like a sign that you're doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Okay, that's awesome. I like all 3 of those people. I'm not huge into reggae. I'm not very political at all whatsoever. I won't say I'm apolitical. And I don't follow basketball much, but I know the legends of Jordan and Kobe and so on and so forth.
Yeah, they achieved something in their lives, respectively,
Yeah,
that, man, not a lot of people reach those levels.
they are basically immortalized.
Yeah,
That's how I
they're
would
just
look at them. They are
really
immortal.
good, really good at what they did. They in a sense, they changed the world.
Yes, they are pioneers and legends
Mm-hmm.
at the same time.
You don't get to meet a lot of people like this, man.
No,
It's just
not at all.
it's super fascinating to me.
Not at all. Okay, well that's awesome. The next part is the exercises. So these are the first principles exercises. There's 2 of them. The first one is called factory exercise, and the second one is called the funeral exercise. And that's how I came up with the podcast name, Funeral Factory. So with first principles being the North Star of your life or the why of your life. So the factory exercise helps you identify if you are living a purposeful life. And then the funeral exercise, you could say, helps you identify what is your purpose and what is your why. So I like to start with the first one, the factory exercise. And it's basically a scenario where if you died in a factory explosion today, assuming you worked in a factory, and I know you don't, but just assume you did, would you be satisfied with how you left the world? Why or why not? And you can provide your own parameters and definitions of satisfied, or we can do it together. And once again, the idea is to see if you're living mindfully in the present according to living a life that you want to live. And this is also important, it's not the same thing as how would you live your last day on earth. That is a completely different question. It's more like if you died, would you be okay with with dying? I know, of course, you're not going to want to die, but like, did you live fully, or do you have stuff to do? You're not done with life. Like, there's no right or wrong answer.
So if I died today,
Mm-hmm.
would I be satisfied how I left it?
Yes, and that doesn't mean how you left the world, as in you wanted to change the world. It could just mean, would you be satisfied? Like, did you?
My honest answer to this question is no, and I think that it might not always be no for me. Like I don't know if I'll ever be in a place in my life where I'll be fully satisfied with something. You're always going to wonder at the back of your mind, man, could I have done that better? Or, dude, I might not have wanted to do that particular thing. So I don't know. I don't, if I died, I don't think I would be satisfied. Because that entails, I don't know, that entails you're like, right? If I died today, I mean, I had a bunch of I hoped that I had a bunch of shit that I still wanted to achieve. So the simple answer to this question would be probably no.
Yeah, I mean, that's most people's answer. That's most people's answer.
But
Nothing.
is that healthy though?
That is part of this whole conversation, and I don't know. Right now, I don't have an answer. I almost feel like it's a balance is key. You have to be satisfied with some parts, and you have to be hungry for others. But if we jump into an exercise, maybe it'll help clear things up a little more.
Okay.
So the next one is called the funeral exercise, and this one you visualize yourself at your own funeral. You're not there. You're dead, obviously, but imagine you're at your own funeral. Who would be there, and what would they say about you as like a eulogy, or what would you be remembered for? So the idea is that the people there are the people that you care most about, and what they say about you is what you care most about. Mm-hmm. And a couple other things too, I guess, before you go too deep into it, is that it's normal to have what this scenario change throughout life. So don't think like what you envision now is going to be what you envision forever. I believe strongly that people change throughout life and their purpose changes too. But the idea is that, is this exercise good to help you discover your current life purpose as of today by seeing who's at your funeral and what they say about you? And then see how it ties into the factory exercise.
Okay. So I guess we can go and we can just work through this and dissect it in sequence. So
Yes.
first question was, if I died, who would be there and what would they say about me? I would imagine that it would most likely be friends and family. I mean,
sorry, who do you want there is a better way to put it. Who do you envision? Not what you think. Now, who do you think? Who do you envision being there?
Would
you want Jordan there?
No, God. He's not gonna be there.
That's not the point. That's not the point.
That's not realistic.
Okay,
so you're just saying like if I died, these are the people that I want to be there?
Ooh, yeah. And you don't have to die. This isn't dying today. This could be at the end of your life when you're 90 or 100.
Well, obviously it's a huge honor if somebody like him would be at my funeral. It entails that I did something in my life that would, I don't know, I achieved something great in my life. Maybe we had a personal connection. I mean, it also entails me actually having a relationship with him. Mm-hmm. So I guess I'll just answer this the best way that I can. And for me, it's just how I would actually see it happen down. And it's just honest too, is that who I want there is, it would most likely be friends and family. I would hope by this time that I might be married. So like maybe, I'm super old now. So maybe I go first. There's some kids, some grandchildren maybe. I don't know. But most
Okay.
likely friends and family.
Okay.
And they would probably tell me that I was a dick.
All right. Well, see, I feel like you're thinking too much about today. Like that. So if the idea of this exercise is to envision what you want them to say about you, not what you think they would say, do you think that changes anything?
What I would want them to say about me. So I'm assuming this question is entailing like, okay,
What
who
did you accomplish in life? Like,
yeah,
did you achieve the
who
goal?
did I want to
Hmm.
become? Did
Yes.
I
What were you
achieve?
known for?
Yeah.
What have you done in life? What are you known for?
So
What do you want them to remember you as?
I think it's important for me to hopefully come to a place in my life where I I lived my life thinking less of myself and thinking more on others. So I guess um, I would have hoped by this time that I was very giving, understanding,
Mm-hmm.
um, and did I say generous already?
Not yet.
Yeah, probably generous. I think there's a lot of power that there like really wonderful things happen when you stop thinking about yourself and you start contribute, like maybe you contributed to something in your life, maybe you
Mm-hmm.
had some kind of foundation that drastically improved other people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost like the other side of the coin in life is like when you start contributing to something that's bigger than yourself,
Mm-hmm.
like it's 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 beautiful, man.
Would you say you have firsthand experience with this?
With
To
being generous,
with doing something bigger than yourself?
I think for me it would probably be like the relationship that I have with my friends.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going through like a super hard time, or I guess family too. Is I think intuitively, especially in our social climate, like everybody is just trying to build themselves up. And to a sense, it kind of makes sense because, and I firmly believe this, you have to help yourself to a certain point. Maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
with your career, maybe it's financial means, but um, right, like so let's look at Bill Gates. Like he helps people on a massive scale. I think he's like a major philanthropist or something. Basically, what I'm trying to say is you have to have helped yourself to a certain extent to actually affect change on other people.
I agree.
But yeah, I guess for me personally is I would probably think that I mean, I certainly hope that I am now doing this for my family, providing for them, um, whether it's financially, emotionally, or whether it's just giving them my time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because time is valuable. It's our most valuable resource, but it's free. You
Yeah.
just have to make the time to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like generous. I think that's like the big one for me.
So is it fair to summarize it like this? So Andy Beck would envision he would hope that his friends and family were at his funeral and that he was remembered for being generous and putting others ahead of himself.
Yeah.
Okay. How how well do you think you're doing that today?
Um, it's definitely not at the level. It's definitely not at the level that I want it to be,
Mm-hmm.
just because like a lot of people, I'm pretty focused on trying to put myself in a better position.
Mm-hmm.
For me specifically, it's just financial, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, but at the same time, like, could I be a better son? Can I be a better friend? Yeah, I definitely can. But can I honestly tell myself that I'm truly living that statement? I don't think I can say that honestly at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's more that I can do, and there's a lot more to mature. And I think that's kind of like the beauty of growing up, right? Right. If we're looking at it objectively, like, right, there's a lot of older people that I know that are super immature. So I'm talking about, you've lived your life, you've done all these things in your life, you've had certain experiences, you've accepted adversity, challenges, to actually build your own character and, I mean, hopefully be a better person.
Mm-hmm.
um I forgot where I was going with this, but yeah, I think as I get older, I am you gain a certain level of, like, I have gained a certain level of perception, and I wouldn't call it wisdom, but it's just like, right, certain perspective that I didn't have even 5 years ago. And some of these things take time, but yeah, I'm not at the level where I want it to be.
All right. All right. So to wrap this up, or start to wrap it up, for the funeral exercise, did you feel like that was a good compass to make sure you're living a meaningful life, a life that you envision?
Are you asking me, do these questions help me understand my my purpose better?
Yes. Specifically in this question, the funeral exercise, where you want to be known to be generous and to put others ahead of you. Did you already have an understanding like that's what's most important to you in life? And if not, did this exercise, was it effective to help you discover what you care most about?
This is a tough one for me because I understand the structure of why these questions are here. Essentially, we're getting down to the bare bones of things, right?
Yes.
And we're cutting out all the fat.
Yep.
But I think for me personally, it's very hard for me to give one sentence answers to stuff,
Hmm.
just because for me personally, I don't think it's very hard for me to, I guess what I'm trying to say is that things are not that simple.
Hmm.
They take time to dissect. And like you said, people change all the time. We're changing,
Yes.
everybody's changing all the time.
Yeah.
So what I think this exercise has done for me personally is it it puts things into perspective, because in a sense that we're now, what is the word that I'm trying to be, we're now we're self-conscious. We're being introspective about the um finality in which we're eventually all going to encounter. We're not going to be here forever.
Mm-hmm.
So, are we truly living? Are we really content with our lives? I
Yes.
don't know. I'm
Exactly.
certainly not. And I think there's also this sense of, I don't know. I don't know if this question covers it, but I think a lot of people go through their entire lives choosing not to believe that death is going to happen to them. I think actually a lot of people are afraid of death, like morbidly afraid of their imminent demise. That's putting it pretty morbid.
Hmm.
But when you think about it, we're not going to be here forever. So what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to achieve? Is it important for you to be remembered? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. That's kind of That's kind of the purpose of the question. Ideally, you do it in the right mindset. Like you just lay down in a dark room and you really visualize yourself dead. Because like you said, it is scary. Most people do not accept death as part of life. Ironically, they live through it thinking they're going to live forever until the last moments on their deathbed, and they start to make all these regrets and start to really look back, right? So the goal of the exercise is to really get you there now and think, okay, what do I care about at this point in time? And just make sure you're aligned. You actually change your life, or make sure your actions align with what you envision. And if they're not, then hopefully it gives you a sign that says, okay, maybe something needs to change. And of course, once again, I don't think you should do this one time only. You should do this periodically.
Right. It should be revisited.
Exactly.
Or basically go into the hyperbolic time chamber, son.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because I've been doing this for 3 years, 4 years, and it changes almost every time. Almost every time. Not much, but it does change every time. Who I envision, what do I envision them saying about me? So I found it helpful for myself to make sure I stay on track with what I care about at the moment. For some lucky people, it's the same thing year after year. I think most people, it's not going to be the same thing. I think it's going to change pretty often. And that's
I agree. Yeah, you know what? Now that you say it, I think this is actually something that a lot of people should consider, because I think what a lot of people don't do is, or I mean, I guess it depends, but there's something to not, right? There's a difference when you just think of something in your head and there's a million thoughts going on in your brain. And then when you physically write something down or you speak the words, you're exposing yourself to your thoughts. It's like a physical manifestation of, right? It's in your brain and now it's out in the world.
Yes.
So I don't know if I don't know. Maybe you have to be a little bit more accountable, or you're consciously putting things you're consciously thinking about these these are important questions that people should be asking themselves.
Yeah.
And they probably don't ask them these questions a lot.
Some people may not ever ask these questions ever in their entire life. They just live. Or you know how I like to think of it? They're simply existing. They're not living.
Like, in a sense, it gives you directions, right? It's like it's a barometer of mindfulness and purpose.
Exactly. That's kind of what I'm trying to see if this can help you get there. So funeral, okay, where do I need to go? Factory, am I going in the right direction? Basically.
I see.
And maybe I should switch. Maybe I should do the funeral exercise first and then the factory exercise. After this podcast, I feel like I might need to switch it.
Why?
Because I think it's easier for someone to visualize where their destination is and then see if they're actually going towards that destination or not. Versus
that makes sense.
Yeah, versus like what are you doing, and then okay, now is that going in the right direction? I think I'm gonna switch it.
Man, this is a pretty gnarly question though. Yeah, because it is. I don't really think about my funeral that much.
No, when
That's
you
so weird.
try this late one day when you have some time and it's like no one's home, lay down in bed in the dark, get really comfortable, and just spend 20
Pull it out.
Get it done.
Light a candle, man.
There you go. Got a day with me, myself, and I. Yeah, man.
Wait, yeah, sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying, just it's an interesting experiment to really take it super seriously and try to visualize it deeply. I think it reveals a lot about yourself, and I think everyone should do it very often. Maybe not very often, but at least once a year, to just make sure you're going in the right direction. Because if you're not a mindful person, if you don't meditate, it's so easy to just react to what the world throws at you. And now you're not really living your own life. You're living your environment. I don't know how to explain that, but like if you're not dictating your own journey, someone else is going to do it for you.
Yeah, I like that. It kind of reminds me of this quote. It's basically the same thing, but if you don't prioritize your own life, somebody else will prioritize it for you.
Yes, exactly. And in this day and age, in this society with technology the way it is, everybody is trying to prioritize your life for you. Everybody and everything. So yeah, I mean, overall, like, to wrap it up again, like, do you think this is a good gut check to see whether your actions are aligned with your purpose? Like, why or why not? Does it help you discover or rediscover how and why to live your life?
I think so. I guess for me, this right there's a certain finality to what these questions represent. And I think this exercise has got me questioning why I am not questioning certain things. So it's got me thinking. It's got me thinking.
When I originally first had my first interview with Derek, another mutual friend, I wanted him to do the exercise before the podcast. And then my second guest was Long. He wanted to do it, wing it on the spot. And so did you. So I've been trying it. And it's working out pretty well too. It's working out pretty well. But I don't want to get more people to actually sit down and try the exercise, genuinely try the exercise, and then get on the podcast.
I actually like that idea. You should actually recommend your guests to participate in this, like, by themselves, and then you could discuss the results in the podcast.
I think I need to give them a little more instructions too.
Just give them some ASMR.
Yeah.
You know, they could just just coach them through it, you know? Coach them through it, whisper in their ear.
Light the right kind of candles, get the baby oil out.
Yep.
The wine.
Get the full vision experience. I want the combo plan, baby.
The full vision. This is called Vision Ventures for a reason. Oh my God. I love it. All right, Andy, last question. Let's wrap this all up. If you could have a billboard all around the world for billions to see, what would it say?
Move.
Wow.
Just move, period.
Move, period.
Yeah. And I think what I mean by that is I think so many people are, you know, even including myself, I catch myself, is we get stuck. We get like in a rut. And we don't always necessarily know how to get out, but just do something. Just do it. Just do it. But yeah, I think, I don't know. I don't really know how to dissect that, but it's just like, don't be a zombie, you know? Don't be a zombie. Do shit.
Yeah, I honestly think if you're living in America, if you're listening to this podcast, chances are you live in America, you've got a place to live, you've got a job, whether you hate it or not, whether you make minimum wage or tons of money, you are in a position with a lot of opportunity, and more often than not, you have the ability to change your own life. And I think with that, it's very important to make sure you just don't be a zombie, like Andy says. You need to
or get too comfortable, man. We have so many privileges living here, you know, compared to so many other people in the world, and we forget. We forget, you know.
So easy to get too comfortable.
Yeah.
Too easy.
So for me, it's like, whether it's move in your career, your life, especially your body,
Mm-hmm.
Just move.
I like that. Move. Move, period. Would it be all caps, all lowercase?
I
What color?
think, man, I think I prefer the design of all lowercase.
Yeah.
But if it's something that everyone's gonna see, it's probably gonna be all capital letters.
All right.
All capital letters.
Period.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And it'll be a picture of me laying in my bed.
Being lazy, sleeping,
Doing the
a napper.
Yeah.
Very nice. Picture of Annie in the background, sleeping, being a professional sleeper or napper.
Not doing shit.
Not moving at all. And it says move. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. All right. Well, that's a wrap.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on, Vince. This was fun, man.
Yeah. Right? It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. Thanks for your time. I know we had a 2-hour warm-up.
Yeah.
But
We gotta record one of those one day.
yeah, we should. Maybe we can do experimental podcast called Listen. It would be basically long-form conversation of 2 or more people being genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
Just dish one out.
Boom, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next time, I'm going to see you soon, I'm sure. But until then, thank you and peace out.